kindergarten students. My name is Miss Caitlin. Today I have a little clue for you about what we're going to be learning about. Let's give you a second to look. I drew a picture on our whiteboard. Can anyone help me by telling me what I drew on the whiteboard? I'm going to give you a few seconds to think about it and raise your hand. Okay, Johnny, what about you? What do you think it is? That's right, it is a flower. Today we're actually going to be learning about plants. So not only flowers, but also bean plants, watermelon plants, sunflower plants, and more. And specifically we're going to be learning about the life cycle of a plant. But first we're going to do a quick little song to give ourselves a brain break and get our bodies moving so we can think for our next activity. So this is one of my favorite songs. It's called Parts of a Flower by Dr. Jean, and it kind of talks a little bit about the parts of a flower, but also what flowers need to survive. So you can observe me. It kind of goes first like head, shoulders, knees, and toes, but instead we're gonna do it flower, stem, leaves, and roots. So you guys can watch the first time and then you can join in with me as we go along. Let's get ready. You can stand up. Flower, stem, leaves and roots, leaves and roots. Flower, stem, leaves and roots, leaves and roots. And all it takes is sun and showers. Then a seed grows into a flower. Flower, stem, leaves and roots, leaves and roots. Flower, stem, leaves and roots, leaves and roots. And all it takes is sun and showers. Then a seed grows into a flower. Okay, and you can go faster this time. You ready? Leaves and roots. Flower, stem, leaves and roots, leaves and roots. And all it takes is sun and showers. Then a seed grows into a flower. Oh, it's so silly. Okay, so we learned a little bit about the parts of a plant in that, but we're also going to be learning about what plants need to grow and also their life cycle, how they begin and how they end. But before we start on our investigation and our observation of plants, of real plants in our classroom, I want to learn a little bit about what you already know about plants. So we're going to start on our KWL chart, which is the chart about what we already know about plants, what we want to know about plants, and then finally what we learn about plants. So let's all have a seat. Let's take a deep breath. Now our bodies are calm and we are ready to start our chart. So here on our whiteboard, I have already drawn out our KWL chart about plants. And here in the first column, we are talking about what we already know about plants. So I want you to think about some things that you already know about plants. In your head quietly, do not say anything yet. I'm going to give you a few seconds to think about what you already know about plants. It could be about a plant you have at home. It could be something that you've seen out in the environment, or it could be about what you know that plants need. Anything that you can think of is great for this activity, and I'm going to choose a few of you to share with the class in a second. So think about it in your head. Okay, let's see. Chase, you can go first. What is something that you know about plants already? That's a good one. Yes, plants need water. That's right. So I'm going to put your response here. Plants need water. That's right. Do you think plants only need water to survive? No, you're right. They need more than water. They also need the sun, just like we learned about in our song, and also soil or some kind of part for them to grow into. Okay, let's see. I'm going to take a few more. Think about it in your head and you can share. Okay, Isabel? Yes, that's right. Plants are green. Can plants be other colors too? They can, right? Just like the one I drew up here, I have some red and pink as well. But also they could be turn into vines, and then those could turn into other flowers or different fruits or vegetables as well after they bud. Let's think about some other things we know about plants. Natalia, what do you think you know about plants? Yes, that's right. Plants start out as seeds. That's right. Plants begin as seeds. Okay. So I really like some of your responses, and we'll take a few more in a second. But I also want to know about what you want to know about plants. So for the second column, we have the W, which means what we want to know about plants. I want you to think in your head of something that you want to learn about today or later through this unit and share with the class. Think about it quietly and then raise your hand. Okay, Sam, what do you think? What would you like to know about plants? That's right, okay, that's a good idea. He wants to know about how to take care of plants. How to take care of plants. That's important, you're right. Can anyone else think? Alice, what do you want to know about plants? Okay, you want to know about how to pull them up to get food. Okay, how to make food, or that could be another word for that is harvest, how you harvest the plants. Okay, so I want you to think about some of the things that we've talked about of what we already know and what we want to learn, and we're actually going to split up into our pairs with your Share Talk partner, and you are going to each get some plants that you are going to observe with some of our tools, like magnifying glasses, and you're also going to have your journal and your writing tools so you can take notes or draw your observations that you see from the plants, because every group has a plant that is different. So some of you may have different observations, and then we will share them afterwards. Okay, so now that you all have been split up into your groups of 3 to 4 children, we have the red group, the orange group, the yellow group, and the blue group. And each of your groups has some tools at your station, which is some magnifying glasses, some paper, some crayons for writing tools, and different plants, as well as your iPad that you can take photographs with of your plants. And what you're going to do is I want you to observe. You're going to act as scientists now, and you are going to use your friends in your group to talk about what you see, what you observe. So it could be the soil, it could be the plants are spiky, the plants are green, the plants are growing, or maybe the plants are dying. Some of these look like they're starting to wilt. So you can also draw on your paper what you're observing. I want you to think about some questions. While you are working and observing with your groups, I want you to think about what you see. Do you notice any of the plants? Do you notice any of the parts of the plant that we sang in our song earlier with the Dr. Jean song? Which ones? What parts of the plant do you see? How do you know that's the part of the plant? Do you have any plants at home? Maybe you could discuss that with your group. And then how might we take care of plants? How do we care for these real plants that we have in our classroom? You know, we have to be very gentle and safe with these plants to ensure that we're not breaking them and that we're taking care of them nicely. So I want you to think about some of those questions, and I'm going to walk around and observe you. I'm going to give you about 5 to 8 minutes to observe and discuss the plants, and then we'll go back to the circle rug to discuss what we saw. Okay, you'll have your time. Oh, Natalia, that's right. You see some of the soil. What else do you think might be underneath the soil? Yeah, a seed, you're right. That's how the seed starts out. That's what you told me about when we were doing our KWL chart. Okay, yes, that's right. That is the stem. How do you know it's the stem? Okay, because it's tall and long. That's right. What about some of the leaves? Do you see some of the other parts of the plant? That's right. How do you think we could take care of these that are wilting? We could trim them, or maybe we could give it some more water or more sunlight. That's a good idea. Okay, thank you for sharing. I'm going to let you guys finish your work. Okay, now that you have all had time to observe and take notes in your observational groups for the plant activity, we're going to talk about some of the things that you observed and that we discussed in our groups. Let's see, each group I want you to dictate one thing that you noticed during your observation. So we'll start with the first group, red group. Stella, Natalia, Layla, Jack, and Sam, what did you observe in your group? That's right, they all had soil. That's right, they all had dirt. Each had dirt. Okay, let's go to blue group. Blue group, are you ready to share something that you observed? Okay, each had different leaves. They're right, they all had different leaves. Each had different leaves. So we found that some had similarities and some had dissimilarities. That's right, they were a little different. So basically, now that you've had time to share some of your observations with me in the class, we're going to be learning more about plants today. Most specifically, we're going to be learning about the life cycle of a plant. So the life cycle of a plant, do plants just come up overnight? No, you're right. We have to take time, we have to care for them, and they need certain conditions in order to survive. Do you see lots of plants growing in Antarctica? No, you're right. It's too cold. Why do you think plants can't grow when it's too cold? That's a good thought, Marin. You're right. Maybe it's because they didn't have soil. What else? Okay, maybe it's because they didn't have enough sunlight or water. Those are all good thoughts. So now that we've taken the time to observe and discuss a little bit about plants, we're going to learn about the life cycle of a plant, and we're going to read one of my favorite books. So let's get ready in circle time to have our read aloud. Okay, so now that we have had time to observe and discuss a little bit more about plants, we're going to read another book to learn a little bit more about plants and their life cycle and how to take care of plants. So let's start with this book. It's called The Tiny Seed. It's written and illustrated by Eric Carle. It is autumn. A strong wind is blowing. It blows flower seeds high in the air and carries them far across the land. One of the seeds is tiny, smaller than the others. Will it be able to keep up with the others? And where are they all going? Do you see the seeds floating? What's making the seeds move? You're right, the air. It's carrying them. Where do you think these seeds are going? Right, they might stop in a garden. They might stop at someone's home. Let's take a look. One of the seeds flies higher than the others. Up, up it goes. It flies too high, and the sun's hot rays burn it up. But the tiny seed sails on with the others. There it goes. Another seed lands on a tall, icy mountain. The ice never melts and the seed cannot grow. Oh, so that's one of the things we talked about. The conditions have to be right for a seed and a plant to grow. The rest of the seeds flew on, but the tiny seed does not go as fast as the others. Now they fly over the ocean. One seed falls into the water and drowns. The others sail on with the wind, but the tiny seed does not go as high as the others. What do you think might happen to the one down in the water? What's different from these? All right, they're a little different because of the weather and the conditions, the environment. One tiny seed drifts down into the desert. It is hot and dry, and the seed cannot grow. Now the seed is flying very low, but the wind pushes on with the others. Finally, the wind stops, and the seeds fall gently down on the ground. A bird comes by and eats one of the seed. The tiny seed is not eaten. It is so small that the bird does not even see it. So some seeds don't even make it, right, to be planted and get down in the soil and germinate. They're picked up, or maybe they're lost in the soil or sand or water or ocean. Now it is winter. After their long trip, the seeds settle down. They look just as if they are going to sleep in the earth. Snow falls and covers them like a soft white blanket. A hungry mouse that also lives in the ground eats a seed for his lunch, but the tiny seed lies very still and the mouse does not see it. Ooh, look at this one. Now it is spring. After a few months,